That would be huge. And that's really where you sit right
You know, dotting your I's, crossing your T's.
So right now we're here in Chicago, heading off to DC with a bunch of students from a variety of schools from across the country to meet with senators and representatives of Congress, not only to promote tiger conservation, but in a lot of different avenues. We're working on the Multinational Species Conservation Fund, which is under the Department of the Wildlife Without Borders program for U.S. Fish and Wildlife. We're also working to promote the Save Vanishing Species stamp, to reauthorize that for the next 4 years. And we're also working to promote the Big Cats and Public Safety Protection Act, which is H.R. 1998, working with IFAW and U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So we're really excited at that. We're really excited to have all the students involved, and we're looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great trip. So this is our first big step for us, and we'll see how it goes. So we made it here in Washington. All the schools are here. It's probably about, what time is it now? 12:45. So we got an hour left to get to the hotel, but we got an early morning start. It's bright and early, 7 o'clock. So we're all catching up, getting some breakfast, getting some food. So we're just about to meet David Houghton and Dr. Tubman in the lobby.
Big thing in Washington, I know some of you are Southerners, is all dressed up for church all day long. It's hot. And so you don't want to be going into these meetings sweating. One's strongly Democratic and one's Republican, and so there's no compromising going on. Legislative buildings, okay? So most of the work does not happen in the Capitol building. It actually happens in the office buildings on either side.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So we're actually from a group called the National Tigers for Tigers Coalition, and what we are, we're a conglomerate group of student groups across the country that have tigers as their mascot, right? Because you know, obviously with Clemson, the paw is like the defining thing for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's the same, luckily enough, for all these other schools, right? Which is super exciting. Even
Well,
though you are a game
I'm actually a Tiger. I went to Swanee, which is in
really?
Tennessee,
Perfect.
so we're the Tigers.
Yeah, that's
You know, what would it be like to be, you know, going to a football game and knowing that this cat that, you know, everybody's so excited about only exists in zoos? And I think in the next 5 years we get to determine that.
Because there's only, I don't know if you know or are aware, but there's only 3,200 remaining in the wild. 3,200. So what we're here today is to talk to you about a few things. To support USAID's efforts to transfer $50 million from USAID over to U.S. Fish and Wildlife into the Multinational Species Conservation Fund. Crime syndicates are getting involved. There's a lot of crime networks and drug cartels that are starting to get involved in other terrorist activities, which is why this is sort of a national security issue.
And the same syndicates that deal with these vast sums of money and moving things across international borders and transferring funds that do drugs and weapons and white slavery are the same syndicates in Africa and Asia often that are dealing with wildlife, you know, elephant tusks and tiger skins and so on. So these are the, you know, like the baddest people on the planet. And
We'd like to change that paradigm and have them say, no, I don't think I'm going to go after a tiger today. That's going to be difficult, and the village is going to get upset and rat me out, and et cetera. And Fish and Wildlife has done an excellent job with the monies that both the House and the Senate have provided. And just to provide an extra slug for this crisis would be huge.
So with your support, you're supporting Clemson fully 100%. You're making a difference on our campus to be 20 years down the road, my grandkids can go to Clemson and say, look, the Tiger's still there. Here's why. You guys got involved.
Bring all this information to him, but I know it had bipartisan support in the past, and
We have Clemson, right? Everybody loves Clemson. Unless South Carolina. For the Tigers and the pride that it brings into our constituents. But I don't know if you're aware, but there's only 3,200 Tigers remaining in the wild.
Sean, if I can jump in. My name is Jennifer Morton. I'm a Clemson graduate student. And speaking of bipartisan issues, this is one fell swoop where you can not spend any more money because it's just granting this money that's already going to the State Department. And it can solve national security issues, it can support economic growth, and help the environment. So I think those things please just about everybody in some way or another.
Appreciate it. When I say appreciate it, means I won't think about it, I will not commit to anything at this point. So that's my nice way of saying it. Sounds something I needed. Research.
Did a great job. Sean was really clear, questions. Jen, hit a couple of great points. So, everybody feeling like, hey, that's not so bad, right? It's kind of fun, right? Tigers for Tigers, not new money, bipartisan. He was definitely starting to think about it. Not in his wheelhouse. That was clear that this was a brand new issue from him. Didn't get the connection. All of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, okay. So I think that was a really, really good
I think
positive.
he's going to find out about it.
Yeah, he's going to find out about it. Yep, absolutely. So you guys did a great job in getting photos. Kind of fun. The real life senator.
We're about to head over on to talk with IFAW about the Big Cats bill. The meeting went really well. It was, I was a little nervous at first, but I think it turned out really, really well. And we're thrilled. What this bill proposes to do is called H.R. 1998. It proposes to ban the ownership of tigers in the United States in the private hands unless it's within an accredited zoo or an accredited sanctuary. So it's bipartisan. But all these things are completely bipartisan. And not only would you be supporting Clemson, with your constituents, but you're also supporting South Carolina and making sure that they're safe. You're not wasting tax dollars on first responders that are having to handle this issue.
We all love the tiger, obviously. It's kind of the identifying characteristic of Mizzou. And so we just want to we're pushing for Mizzou students to help support the bill. And so we're hoping that you guys can work with us in getting it passed.
Okay. Now the bill is trying to standardize the regulations for large cats in all the states.
And so what happens to them? They get dumped. They get abandoned, they get sold off, they get dumped on there's rescue centers which can't afford to keep them, and then they breed more because they're cute. There's like a 4-week window where you can make a lot of money. People hold cats to get the pictures taken, and then you just unload them. They're like greyhounds or racehorses, except they don't have the same constituency looking out for them after they're put out to pasture, and they're put out to pasture when they're 8 weeks old, and then they're replaced. And so that industry is not something that we can support, and we think it's not a partisan issue in any way. It's a matter of treating the animals with respect and dignity, and also protecting public safety.
Because a lot of people don't make the connections with the poaching to other crime that goes on in the world.
Thank you. I thought today went really well.
I thought it was great. It was really cool to meet the actual congressmen themselves because, you see them on the news and stuff. It's really different from meeting them in person.
Some of them knew more about tigers than others, but they were all interested. They were we put tigers on the radar for all of them.
Tomorrow is going to be even more exciting.
Knowing that I'll be speaking to a representative's staff tomorrow, just because it helped me see how things went for other people.
But it went well. I'm excited to hear from Bill Cassidy tomorrow. So I think everything went fine. We'll see what happens. I think they really liked us.
And I was very happy to meet the new U.S. Senator, Tim Scott, and shake his hand, and I smiled and said, any senator from South Carolina loves tigers, right? And Gamecocks too, and he smiled and said, I've learned to love them all. He was a gentleman.
But I think today went great, and our feet hurt, so that's got to be a good thing, right?
Help save all the other animals that live. I don't want tigers to go extinct.
I think the balance has been disrupted, and I think it's our responsibility to fix it.
School spirit is very important, and it seems to me that that goes through the person.
When I was invited to Clemson, I went for a jog in the morning, and they have a tiger paw up on their water tower, and then everything I was handed throughout the day has a tiger paw on it, from napkins to whatever. So they take their tigers really seriously. And
there's no American, or very few, would like to see an animal like the tiger go extinct. It has nothing to do with political parties. This is something that most Americans would like to see, an animal they'd like to see exist, that a group like yours, a coalition like yours, can help raise that awareness and show institutions like ours, and just make it important to the American public that actually be taken to conserve these animals.
We have a partnership with the Detroit Tigers baseball team now. So on the 20th, they're going to be filmed, and we're going to produce a bunch of public service announcements. I can share all of that with you. You can use it wherever you want. We're a resource. We have staff. We've thought a lot about this, and we have some of the very creative minds around the country helping us.
Primarily what we're looking at, again, is the pet trade. There's still a lot of problems in the United States with the pet trade, where people can easily own one of these huge species, put them in their backyard, and often trade them around the country still.
It would be obviously a very scary thing to know that someone who has a USDA license, which is not that difficult to get, still is able to have these big cats. And like that man in Zanesville, he had this license.
Monitored. So we let all these animals out. First responders had to just be on the scene, put their lives at risk.
Something potentially just as tragic as that could happen right in our backyard.
There have been hundreds of maulings and escapes, and we keep a database that links to like articles and proof of all of that.
For me, on the more social aspect of it, I mean, on campus, we have the potential to really raise awareness about this, and like with your help and all the other states' helps, we can really tighten it up and protect the cats and, the people, especially.
Areas of public safety where there's a direct connection to public safety, it's extremely important. So he's a strong supporter of these issues through and through. I'll definitely discuss this legislation with him. Where is the bill now? It has been introduced, or it's set to be introduced?
Everybody, you're a Clemson fan, you're a South Carolina fan, right? And that's about it. So.
Which one are you?
No comment. Talk about the Save Vanishing Species stamp, which is a stamp that generates money that the public can get involved in. You just purchase a stamp, I think it's 15 cents more, that generates more money for conservation. That's actually coming up for reauthorization, I think September 30th of this year. And it's generated over $15 million in sales the past 2 years, and it's generated over $2.1 million.
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million for tiger conservation, which is huge.
I'm sure most of you are aware that Senator Graham does sit on the Appropriations Committee, so I'm more than happy to bring it up with him and see if he can weigh in with the chairman and ranking member as far as making that transfer. And as far as the stamps, is there a bill already in Congress for reauthorization? Do you guys have it?
3280.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah. No, thanks so much for taking time to come up here, and it's great meeting you all.
Congratulations. I think you all have successfully taken Washington literally and figuratively by storm. And I think both yesterday and today were really successful meetings. I really give you all a lot of credit. I absolutely think that this is a winner. I really feel like we got good reception and we should keep going with this. So I would love to invite you all back to Washington.